You know, I've got a lot of, if you look at it, I've probably got a lot of experience at it because I used to dirt track, and it was all time trials is what they call it, which is the same thing. You go out the pits, you make a warm-up lap, and you get one lap. But I haven't done that for a long time, and I did a couple of World Superbike events at Laguna and stuff, so I've done Superpole a little bit. But I think out of all the places to do Superpole, this is probably one of the hardest ones, just because the tires are so hard, and you're hesitant the first lap to really go hard on the thing. You're kind of like, you would almost like to do 2 warm-up laps. I think you'd see I'd be more comfortable, but other than that, went pretty good.
Yeah, it's different for me. It's the first time I ever did it, so it's definitely, you know, mentally a little bit tough, you know, to get ready to go like that right out of the gate. And, you know, here you miss a big section of the track on the outlap, so, you know, you're doing part of the track, you know, more than the first split for the first time. So it's definitely difficult, but I enjoyed it. It added a little bit of intensity to the weekend that we usually don't have, and I thought it was pretty cool. I liked it.
I have something to say. Are they not going to show Superpole? I thought the whole idea of the show of Superpole was to actually televise it so we can all go ooh and ah when you're watching it.
You'll see highlights of it on the primetime show that'll premiere on the 21st.
Right. 21st.
March 21st. Yeah, there'll definitely be highlights on there.
Superpole's there to go and do one fast lap, and so you have to give it everything that you've got, and so that's what we did. Just made a couple of changes from this morning in qualifying, or just earlier in qualifying, and bike felt reasonable, and yeah, so just pushed a little bit. So yeah, it was a pretty decent lap.
I think we've just sort of missed the concept of it. You know, the concept of Superpole is it's pretty exciting for everybody to watch live there and then. It's the most boring thing to watch after when you know the result, watching one guy ride around on his own. So sat in pit lane watching a guy go across the stripe and looking at the splits is not very exciting. So I understand the concept of it, obviously, and it works, but not the way that we're doing it at the moment. So I think maybe the organisers should actually think about what they're doing.
We are working on trying to get the race in here for you guys to watch, obviously.
I guess I have an unrelated question. Matt, were you surprised at the speed that Ben Spieth showed in the World Superbike race?
No, not at all. I've raced a guy for the last few years, and you know, there's always these comparisons that go on. You can never compare, but series compared to series and all that sort of stuff. But I think the pace of the American series is pretty quick. I think he showed those guys that you know, what's been happening over here is fair income, and I've been asked how I think he's going to go this year a number of times in the past few months, and my answer's been I think he's going to be world champion with 2 rounds to spare.
I wanted to chat for a minute about Superpole. You're one of 2 humans on the grid right now that has a boatload of Superpole experience. Talk us through the difference between what it's like to just qualify as we've done in America forever. It seems like it would be a different thing to do.
Yeah, it is. I quite like it. I think it's a really good idea. It's good for TV. But yeah, it's, you know, when I did World Superbikes, and I did it for about 3 or 4 seasons, you had qualifying tyres, so it was always quite exciting because you knew you were going to go out and you're going to have a bunch load of grip, where now we don't have that luxury. You go out on a race tyre.
You just get one extra race tyre.
Exactly, so you know, you've not got a load of grip or anything, so it's a bit weird really. The Superpole mentality that I used to have was always, and I was good at Superpole, I don't know how many I won, but I always used to brake at the same point or earlier, where people would go out and try and do a flying lap and brake later, but they didn't realise that they got a grippy tyre on, and they were arriving at that point usually about 5 miles an hour faster. And then they'd try and brake later and wonder why they always kept screwing up the Superpole laps. And I used to brake earlier on lots of occasions and still get pole, you know. So, but anyway, that's another story. I could talk about that for ages. But with a race tyre, it's tricky because sometimes they're not that good, and certainly here they're not very good. So you go into that first turn, you know, and you're like, is it going to give me grip or not? And you turn the throttle, and I was pathetic on my Superpole lap into the first turn. And then I didn't really have much grip, but you just I just slithered my way around and put a decent lap together.
Can you heat up the tire enough in one warm-up lap? Off the warmers, one warm-up lap, you got a fully heated tire by the time you hit that flying lap?
Yeah, you can normally, but Daytona being Daytona, the tyres are so hard because they have to stand the immense heat that it generates around the banking. So we've got bowling balls on the rear, so that's what all makes it all a bit weird, really. If you put a qualifier in it, it's a lot nicer feeling. Like I say, you can be a lot more aggressive with the throttle, but you have to be careful because you just don't want the thing to high side you first corner.
Last question: is there anything uber mentally different about the two approaches? You got to really gear yourself up because you can't blow it.
Yeah, do you know, some riders absolutely hate it, and I've always enjoyed that. I like that, right, this is it, this is what we're here for. Got to focus, one lap, do it right. So yeah, but yeah, you can't make a mistake or anything. You do literally blow it. You can be top 3 all weekend and you screw that lap up and you're going onto the 3rd row. So. But it's the same for everyone, like I say, and you want to ask Troy Corser, he's the man, he's won about 40 Superpoles, and he's always really smooth. The more aggressive, erratic style rider doesn't do well at it. Someone like Chris Walker, I remember, would be the same time in practice, and then I'd qualify pole or on the front row, and he'd be literally 16th sometimes, but we could do the same lap time, but he just couldn't do that one. So, weird.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.